I am going to talk you through the squat today. I'm using an air squat as a demonstration because the cues and the setup is largely the same whether you are doing an air squat or a weighted squat. Obviously, when you're adding weight, there will be some slightly different things to think about, but when we think about the upper body and the legs, and the setup is generally the same. So I've got a video demonstration here. Let's talk about setting up for your squat stance. Everybody's is going to be different depending on anatomy and also your range of motion, and it may change over time, especially if you're starting training with limited range of motion. Your squat stance may change as you become more flexible and more mobile. So generally you want your feet just outside, hips distance apart. A really great way to test this is to pretend like you're wiping your feet on a doormat and then stand ready, and that really helps you out with your squat. Toes point slightly outwards because when we start to progress through the squat, you want to think about being able to track your knees out over your midfoot, or knees out over toes as we say. So we're starting feet outside, hips distance apart. Whatever kind of squat you're doing, this should remain the same. Setup is always the same. You'll notice here we start with a break at the hip, which is why quite often people cue you to squeeze your bum at the top, because then when you relax your bum, that gives you that slight break at the hip in order to help you sit down into your squat. You're sitting down as if you're sitting into a chair by keeping your torso up. As I move through the squat here, you'll see that my torso stays upright, my knees track forwards over my midfoot or over my toes, but my heels also stay down as well. We want to think heels down, knees out. This may feel very difficult, especially for beginners, and I do have a separate squat video that can help you out with some adjustments for this as well. When we get to the bottom of the squat, we want to make sure that we are below parallel, so hips below knees. But again, if you're a beginner, just squat as low as you are able to with good form. This will improve over time. The other thing we want to think about is maintaining the natural curve of the spine, so keeping my torso upright, my chest forwards and my eyes forwards as well. So you'll notice as I move through my squat, my head and my gaze stays in exactly the same place. My best tip for this is to find something on the wall or whatever's in front of you and just stare at it the whole time. When you're performing an air squat, it's really great to keep your arms out in front, as that helps you keep your torso upright. So I like to imagine that I'm balancing something on my arms here, and if I let my torso, my chest drop, whatever I'm balancing across my arms that are at parallel is going to fall off, and that helps me really keep my chest upright as well as my gaze fixed. The last thing, and I know this is a lot to think about, but the last thing when you start to revisit the squat that can also be really helpful is to think of your foot as a nice tripod at the bottom here. We want to think about pressing your big toe, your little toe and your heel into the floor, and again that will help you also keep your knees out as you lower down into your squat. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me, and I hope that was helpful. Keep that in mind next time you're squatting, and I'll speak to you soon.